Alright, this is chapter 23, figures of speech. There's lots of different types of figures of speech you use in English, and we're going to distinguish different ones, but the definition of figures of speech allow writers to make connections and comparisons between seemingly unlikely actions. These connections require a particular capacity to perceive relationships between dissimilar things. So you use them just to describe different things, and there's different types of them you can use, like we're about to further get into it. The first one that comes on the list is, figurative language. First of all, most importantly, is it can also help a writer describe and use comparisons to compare things, so when you're reading the poem, you can understand what the writer's talking about. And the one I found in that by Michael Odejanti is Sweet Like a Crow. It says, your voice sounds like a scorpion pushed through a glass tube, like someone has just trod on a peacock. He's just describing that, trying to show you how the voice is passing through, and that's the description he gives to use for it. The first main thing is a simile and metaphor, and a simile is using comparison, like using like or as. And in my poem, I found in Margaret Atwood's "You Fit Into Me," you fit into me like a fish hook in the eye. So she's using how she fits in somebody with using the words like a hook into an eye. And then the other one is a metaphor, which is using a comparison without using the words like or as. And it compares two dissimilar things, so that's what you're trying to compare. It's the same thing as a simile, except you're not using like or as. And in that, I have the Sylvia Plath poem for metaphors. It says, I'm a riddle in 9 syllables, an elephant, a ponderous house, a melon strolling onto two tendrils. And those are just 3 different types of metaphors because she's describing 2 similar things without using like or as. The next main concrete detail is hyperbole and understatement. A hyperbole is sometimes called an overstatement, which is it's like an over-exaggeration by trying to make your point is what you're trying to prove on it. And then an understatement is a purposely tooled description. It's the opposite of hyperbole. It's an understatement of everything like that. And my quote I'm using for hyperbole is Robert Frost in Fire and Ice. It says, some say the world will end in fire, some will say in ice, which is an over-exaggeration because we're not for sure though, but it could end in fire, it could end in ice. We don't really have any idea where you just disappear. And then from understatement, it is at the same poem, Fire and Ice by Robert Frost. It says, I think I know enough hate to say for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. So it's basically, he's toning down from what he was saying earlier in the poem to saying that it could be a little different and that it's just not, it could end like that, but he was toning it down and it's just the opposite of hyperbole. It's just undertoning what he was saying earlier. And a synecdoche in a metonymy synecdoche is a figure of speech that uses a piece or part of a thing telling to represent the thing in entirety. So it's like a word that it's actually saying. And then a metonymy is using an identifying an emblem, or it's like a symbol, basically a symbol representing what it's describing. And my example of synecdoche is in the poem Henry Reed, Naming of Parts. It says, today we have naming of parts, yesterday we had definitely cleaning, and tomorrow morning we should have to do after firing, but today we have naming parts. So he could be talking about cleaning fish, or he talking about cleaning his gun, or something like that. And then my example for metonymy is in the same poem, Naming of Parts. It says, this is a safety catch, which is always released with an easy flick of a thumb, and please do not let me see anyone using his finger. So it could probably be using like an old button hook fishing rod to use the reel in the fish. It's saying that, but it's using it as that. And personification and apostrophe. Personification is when the human describes. It's comparing human things and inhumane things. And I have that in my William Wordsworth, composed upon Westheimer Bridge. It says, the city nods off like a garment where the beauty of the morning silent bear, which is comparing the city to like a silent bear, which is 2 different things. And then apostrophe is describing a figure of speech in which a writer calls out an unseen, foreseen, personified idea. And my example of that is, examine me, cedar pine, with your vertical eyes, and don't move or uproot your feet from the living soul. And then paradox and oxymoron. Paradox, seemingly contradictory statements that when closely examined have a deeper meaning, which is, it's not 2 words combined, it's just basically describing what you're trying to think. And oxymoron is actually putting 2 opposite words together and then describing them. And then my paradox is the poem Kyoto by Masuto Basho. It says, even in Kyoto, hearing a cuckoo, I long for Kyoto. And then oxymoron, like I said, is the two words being put together that are kind of dissimilar. And my example of that is most like an arch and entrance which upholds and shores the stones crushed up like air and like lace, which is describing this oxymoron. So it's describing two different things that are similar, but it's not really just in one word. It's in kind of like a sentence. And then a pun is a play on words that reveal different meanings or similar ideas. And that I could use the same example as what I just read for that one because they kind of have similar meanings in that. And the humor is just a good poem just to find humor in whatever you're trying to read. You know, they may throw a subtle punchline in there to make you understand it better. And that is it for chapter 23, Figures of Speech.